In research ethics, one of the core values that we hold as researchers, and that you'll see coming up over and over again in these different ethical codes, is the idea. It has to do with the idea that people have an ability to choose. And this is my own way of wording this. I'm not sure how often you would see it worded exactly like this, but the ability to choose what they do, or in particular, what happens to them. And sometimes you will see this referred to in an ethics code as the participant's autonomy. And the value is that we want to, as researchers, we think it is a very good thing to support and we might say respect this ability. That we want to help the person maximize their autonomy. We think it's a good thing that they are able to choose what they do and choose what happens to them. And this may seem really obvious. Like, why are we even talking about this? But you have to realize that this has not always been done. The most extreme examples of the violation of a person's ability to choose what happens to them would be the Nazi medical experiments, where people, we wouldn't even call them participants, because the term participant implies some degree of voluntary consent to engage in the research. But in those cases, the people were literally forced to engage in the research. They were forced to have things done to them that they did not want to have done. So their autonomy in some cases was completely removed. Now that's an extreme case, but in the history of research, there are many cases in which researchers have intentionally or accidentally coerced or pressured a participant into doing something that they didn't want to do, or the person hasn't had a real understanding of the research, of what the study was going to involve before engaging in it. And of course, you cannot choose what happens to you if you don't know what's going to happen. So in practical terms, the main implication of this, the main thing that we do in order to support and respect a participant's autonomy, is we do something called informed consent. And the idea of informed consent is, well, the consent means permission. Specifically permission, that you're giving permission for something to happen. In this case, usually for something to happen to you. So, and this can be substantially invasive. If you're undergoing a medical treatment, or you're undergoing some new experimental psychological treatment, this can be physically or emotionally or psychologically invasive treatment that someone is going to do to you, and it is experimental. That is why it is being done, is because we're not sure how well it works. We're not sure exactly what's going to happen, and so that is a substantial thing in some cases to consent to. And so the idea here is that this should be consent that is informed. By informed, we mean that you are consenting to have these things done to you with knowledge. And in particular, I say with knowledge, it means especially with knowledge of the potential risks and benefits that you may experience as the participant in this study. So the idea is, if the participant is coming in to maybe have some new medical treatment done to them that has the chance of doing harm to their bodies, that they're informed of that risk. Or if the risk is not fully understood, it's explained to them that our knowledge is not complete, but here, to the best of our knowledge, is some of the things that could happen to them. And so there's a risk of harm, or in some cases even death, from the treatment. But then on the other side of things, what are the potential benefits? So this goes back to the idea of weighing the risks and benefits. In this case, the idea is we're presenting the risks and benefits to the participant so that they can weigh them and they can be allowed to choose. So just with the principle that we've talked about before of doing no harm or doing good, of minimizing risks and maximizing benefits, we could, as the researchers, decide, well, we know best. So we're just going to grab people off the street and we're going to force them to undergo this treatment because we've decided that the benefits outweigh the costs. This principle is saying that that's not okay, that it's not enough for us to decide that the benefits outweigh the costs. We need to do that, make that decision. But once we've done that, we then need to present the information to the participants because we believe in the value of their autonomy and the value of their ability to choose those things themselves. Now, in practical terms, what this usually looks like is when a participant comes to a lab or comes to wherever it is they're going to participate in the study, you present them with an informed consent document. And on here, you'll be giving details about things like what the purpose of the study is, what procedures will be involved, what the person will undergo, especially what risks and benefits are expected from the procedure. And then you'll give them at the bottom a place to sign to say, yes, I've received this, I read it, I understand, I've been given a chance to ask any questions that I need to ask, and I consent. I give my informed consent to have these things happen to me, to undergo this procedure or whatever it is that's going to happen. Now, what specifically this list of things should be, there are lists of the types of things that you would want to consider including in an informed consent, but there isn't a list where that list is going to be exactly the same for every informed consent. The idea is I'm going to say whatever is needed to do this, to support and respect their ability to choose. In other words, what will give the potential participant the information they need to make an informed choice? And so the most important part of that is the part about the risks and benefits that they're likely to experience. That's the most important part in terms of supporting their ability to choose.